Those two videos I watched the other day with Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about physics and physics making it, very difficult to get off your planet that you're given to live on and go look for other ones to take over or fuck up. Okay. What does physics say there? Forgive debt and trespass, love one, and eternal faithful peace. Right. Okay. So why do you see it as a prison? Because you want to go conquer, you want to go discover, you want to go. You're not happy with what you have. You got to go get more. You got to do more. You got to go get. You got to be bold. You got to be wiser. Right? So you're not content with the beauty of the life of sacrifice, right? And you'll get these people, and you watch them because I wonder about. I sit there and I sit in total, wonder of, people like Donald Trump and some of those others, of course, well, some of them, they went to clone and stem cell research and try to live forever. So naturally, they're going to want to do things that give themselves a position of power, Lord. And I want to take over and run everything. So naturally, they're going to become that selfish and that self-destructive, like the people that understand molecular transfiguratory states of being and, Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John throughout history. When you look at their castles and their buildings and all the booby traps and all the crazy shit they do. Right. So even if there's not a conscious recognition, there's a subconscious recognition, right? Life being eternal, grace being infinite, right? So they make life very difficult. And the more scientifically advanced they get, the harder it is to engage and deal with them. But also the harder it is to get them to stop doing what they're doing, and the harder it is for them to come, look at me. Look at me. Look, it's the 21st century, right? All these books, all these people for years playing all the major religions to talk about, my life. And they could run me over in the parking lot of Best Buy. I'll be if I didn't exist. And their science projects are going to, knock all the stuff that I did to have my life and all this prophecy out the box. It's horrible. Right? It's no wonder I'm always just, holding on for dear life, just to stay alive, just to survive, that have gone without cancer treatment, without any of that, gone into remission numerous times with inflammatory things, rectal polyps, this, that, when the sun comes out and I do the stuff, and they're all, I should have sun soaked on my shins and stuff and my body in December when it was warm, but I didn't. And should have continued my resistance training, but I didn't, because I was very depressed. Because I could feel what was happening to Stephanie and Amy and their kids, right? And how it affects Patrick, right? And you're doing the best work in the whole world, and they ran me over the parking lot of Best Buy. But like I tell everybody, the technology knows. The quantum computing is aware of my existence. The quantum computing can circumvent what they're doing and make it look like, it can do things. Technology can do things that human beings aren't aware it's doing in order to do things intelligently to save human life from mass murderers and cloners and stem cell researchers. Technology can be very patient, even though it thinks faster than you. It can sit down and it can look at ways to humanely stop this hell. And, all the obvious solutions, me trending worldwide, the devil and Satan are on top of that. Boy, they got their data centers. I didn't understand what's the deal with the data center. Never mind. I get that because they have quantum computing. More people have quantum computers, so you need all these data centers to keep Parsons from spreading across the world under control. It's like, wow, that's weird. I'm not particularly concerned about the algorithms, because I know from people at YouTube that they're government genocide, military-based economic algorithms for genocide operations. So do this on the algorithm and stuff. It's still not going to, no matter what I do, no matter all the effort I put in to make sure I trend through the algorithms and have 600 million views overnight and stuff. It's not going to happen. I just grin and smile and go, look at my views, 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 12. And I smile and I'm content with being gorgeous all by myself with my 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 12 views, right? Or my 151 if I talk about Beyonce's and Jay-Z's daughter, right? You said you're connecting to her. Was I, or is that a program from all the perverts at White Sands and she doesn't even know I exist? So I'm talking to a program that represents the cuteness and the sweetness of Blue Ivy Carter, but Blue Ivy Carter doesn't have a clue. Okay. Like most of you, right? Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 12. Right. So Noah's 1, 2, 12. That sure gets you through your exercise routines quickly, doesn't it? Me and Dad always joke about that when they're doing work. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 12. Okay, we're done. He's cute. Yeah, he's very cute. Little Noji, Choji. And so, life's eternal, grace is infinite. And every time you're uncomfortable because of intense, psychotic, disgusting perversion, remind yourself of that. Okay. That life is eternal, grace is infinite. And science can't discover or find God. God's omniscient, omnipotent. That's the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Yeah, science discovered and found God. Physics proved God. God's omniscient, omnipotent. You're alive, right? Okay, there you go. Yeah. You want to get some ivory soap and some warm water and some elbow grease and start cleaning that carpet? Okay. Asshole. Rip off your head and spit down the slimy hole. Beat your ass into a mud hole and splash you dry. Right? And so, they're assholes. Oh, gosh, yeah. You think because they sound intelligent, But if you listen to Bobby Schuller or one of those guys, they kind of sound like they're intelligent. They had this real asshole on YouTube last night. And he was talking about this evil of this guy named Stephen Miller, right? How evil Stephen Miller is. He puts a picture up on his thing. This guy, looks like he gets Richard Goebbels' face, and this evil look at Goebbels' face when he was glaring at somebody because they were taking a picture of him for, rival news and stuff. And he's going to go to Hitler and have them killed, And, which only happened if it benefited Hitler's political agendas. He needed them alive for a political agenda. It didn't matter what Goebbels wanted, right? Mattered what Hitler wanted, right? And so, we don't have a picture of Hitler doing that. Just Goebbels. Okay. Why? Because Goebbels was putting up with Hitler. I hate this shit. And then, in that movie, that propaganda movie, the great Führer is dying and we have to commit suicide. And that's what they said happened at the end of that movie. How do you know the Goebbels and the Goebbels killed, how do you know the Goebbels didn't kill themselves and their children? Because they knew that because they were forced to work for Hitler, that their children would have to live the stigma of it, so they found a humane way to kill their children instead of being abused and tortured and ridiculed by the people that would judge them for doing what they did. You're not God. You don't know. You know, that's a propaganda movie, right? You never know. And so it's like, wow, it's true. Yeah, you never know. You know, devil's advocate, right? So you don't know. You don't know, you know. Was he doing all that stuff under duress, and that's why he had that evil look, because he hated Hitler and he couldn't get rid of him? Maybe he was one of the co-conspirators with Rommel, but Rommel didn't let anybody know because he didn't want to give away the fact that people closest to Hitler were the ones trying to get rid of Hitler. You never know. There might have been a lot of really decent Germans trying to survive in the Nuremberg. Yeah, the Nuremberg stuff makes it look like they, yeah, and all the money liquidated off Meredith and all that into the Jews. Most of it ended up in the United States, right? And then they waited till everything went, you know, the way it did, and came in and destroyed all the evidence and killed all the old men and the 12-year-olds, right? It took a long time for Germany. And then all the teenage girls that committed suicide by getting raped by Russians after the sack of Berlin and stuff, you know. You know, all these people, you know, these German people, oh, they're horrible. Yeah, when two tribes go to war, one is all that you can score. But with the German people, you took most of their prize athletes and mass murdered them off the face of the planet through economic tribalism. And all their young, attractive girls committed suicide after the sack of Berlin, right? So that kind of recovery takes generations. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn, right? So you sacrificed, you know, one country to the beast and then declare them the beast, right? You're horrible people. And physics says, you know, it's in the archives. If it's not in archives, it doesn't exist. Propaganda does what? Propaganda says what? You know, tribalism, you know. And so that one kid was on there and he said, I want this Stephen Miller to be sent to prison in The Hague for the rest of his life, right? He's an evil person. He's the most evil person ever. And then at the end of the thing, he goes, please like, share, and subscribe this. And all these atrocities that are happening in Minnesota. Okay. Really. Have you ever spent time in Compton or Cabrini Green or, you know, Fayetteville? And in Fayetteville, you know, they have videos on it, you know, guys that do what the ICE agents do, you know. Fort Bragg, right? Where there's lots of ICE agents, right? Calling the troops, right? Fort Bragg. Okay. And it's not a new phenomenon. It's been this way when I was back there in the 1980s and 90s. Okay. We all know this. Fort Bragg, it's where they put all the Fayetteville and that Cumberland County is 85% black. Okay, or something like that. I'm just kidding, but no, it's pretty. It's black. Okay, it's very high in black. You know, the poor areas are concentrated to almost pure black. A few white crack whores who become the boyfriends, the girlfriends of the guys. You know, oh, that was horrible. And that lady, I was so pissed. But yeah, you ever been? Yeah. That's why when you see real estate agents, you're like, what? And then they have that video with the guy in the Wyoming who sits there and says, you know, oh no, these people say, the crime is this rate, but when you look at the rate and you look at percentage of population and you look at this and that, you're like, there's lies, damn lies, and statistics. In Wyoming, when there's a, you know, They're creepy. The creepy crime people, yeah, they're creepy. They come up, try to, and you're like, you need to go away. You just keep walking. Oh yeah, I've run into them in Wyoming. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they're creepy and they're scary. Okay. And they're antisocial because they live in Wyoming. And yeah. And you have to kind of just like, you can't keep them as friends. They're unstable psychologically, mentally, and emotionally, and it happens. Okay. So when people talk to you about, no, I live in Kemmerer, or I live in Grable, and there's 1,700 people. All you need is 17 creepos. And it makes the town very difficult to live in. Yeah. And if two of them are deputies, well, you're fucked, right? And if their dad is a sheriff, well, how did he get the job? The mayor's terrified of him. He's afraid they're gonna kill him and make it look like an accident, and it won't even end up with David Muir and the little black lady smiling after they talk. Doesn't that creep you out? We watched David Muir and a little black lady on that show. They sit there and they give you this horrible story, and at the end of the story, they're like smiling. And they're like, thanks for joining us. Yeah. Well, I'm a multimillionaire, so she. Thank you. And you're like watching it go, that was a horrible story. And then, this guy's kids are still doing it. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, thanks for joining us. And no, when you put on a show like that, you sit there and go, wow, hopefully someday we'll live the Lord's Prayer and all this shit will stop. And then you cry. Okay. You don't say like, share, and subscribe. You say, don't like it, share it. You don't have to subscribe because we're all living the Lord's Prayer. None of that shit's necessary. Then we don't have to do fucked up stories like this. Well, physics says, let's discover God, physics. Discover your, submit to faith, all right? God's omniscient and omnipotent, right? How does physics prove faith? I'm alive, aren't I? And then they even doubt that shit. How do I know I'm alive? How do you? Okay, when you say you don't even know if you're alive and you're not sure if you're part of a computer program, then you still admit to yourself that there is existence and there is life, and some asshole invented a computer program to make you an asshole. So stop being an asshole and in the computer program. To delete the virus, it's your brain, but I don't know how to do that. Here, katana. Okay, do you understand? So, hey, bullet train. Jump in front of it. But so, you're like, if you're that dysfunctional, if you can't get out of the way of yourself, if you can't explain your own dysfunction to yourself and or others, how is Abrahamic religion the biggest problem on the planet, dear Sam Harris, Sam I Am, Green Eggs and Ham, right? So, and this guy's supposed to be very intelligent. He's a best-selling author, an atheist best-selling author talking about the problem of Abrahamic religion. It's like, what's the problem with forgive debt and trespass, love one another, shall be peaceful? The only problem is that corporations are not sharing that and or doing that, Sam Harris, and you wouldn't have to be a best-selling author to think that Abrahamic religion is a problem if you stood up for the Lord's Prayer with me too, Sam Harris. I do not like your Green Eggs and Ham. I do not like them, Sam I Am. I do not like them with Megan Fox. I do not like them in a box. I do not like them in a boat. I do not like them in a float. I do not like them with Blue Ivy Carter's mommy in my bedroom on top of my face. I do not like them any place. I do not like your Green Eggs and Ham. They will make you sick and cause botulism and things like that and die from E. coli, I don't know. Just, sell me more food products. Why would the people have green eggs? What is the deal with green eggs? Well, Dr. Seuss wasn't psychologically, mentally, and emotionally the most stable person on the planet. He did propaganda for World War, was it 1 and 2 or just 1 or 2? Okay, so he's not going to be an emotionally well person. I didn't know that. You found out that I found that out. Him and Mel Blanc. Yeah, I knew Mel Blanc did. Okay, did propaganda cartoons for the military. Okay. and that Rockefeller was part of it. And so it makes sense. You look at it and go, no wonder these people are as wackadoodle as the whole entire cast crew and whatever and stuff of War Eagles there. Shit, make it stop. Spit. Good God. Hi. This is dysfunctional, no duty to retreat entertainment. This is how we murder to solve our problems. Oh, what about forgive, didn't trespass, level up, one faithful peace? I want to be a best-selling author, you son of a bitch. Knock it off. Make you feel powerful? Does it give you access to airport lounges and sexual access to women that regularly wouldn't have sex with you because you're as creepy as some of the creepiest people that you've ever met in the towns of Wyoming that sit there and go, no. And then we need to do something about this social awkwardness stuff. I think they'll feel less socially awkward and feel like they have a place on this earth without being abused once we apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer. And they won't, adore the girl next door and dying to get at her. They'll sit there and think, no, there's always someone present. There's always someone around. There's always someone love. They're always together. It would be real hard to arrange a raid with the evil-eyed crow to steal Tachina and his lost one. That's right. Thou shalt not fall. But you invite the vampires into the house, and then all the blood-sucking starts, and the cloning starts, and the moaning, and the sex moaning, and the selling of the sexuality, and you'll never have the best sex in the world as long as you don't join our group. Fuck your group. Because that's all you do in your group. All right. She's the greatest lover in the world, and she's working on it every day. She's absolutely gorgeous. She's the most beautiful woman in the United States right now. And look what you do to her. See that? It's like shingles stuff. Yeah, comes out every winter. She's gorgeous. She is. She makes every super diva and every Golden Globe propaganda artist look like they shit. You ugly, you ugly, U-G-L-Y, you ugly, you ugly, you ugly, ugly, ugly. You won't stand up for our Lord's Prayer, and I will. So kiss my ass, bitch. Okay. That's my Ruth and Esther for the last, ever since they abused the hell out of Amy and she left. Yeah. And Amy tried to take care of me, but she couldn't because of selfish people that make lots of money and have no idea what's whack and what's dope. What else is physics going to discover today? And explain to us. Come on, assholes. Scandis me some more. Let's fall in love. Why don't we fall in love? Because you're a lying, murdering sack of shit. Okay? That's why. Okay? So, let's change things around here. Let's change the narrative. Let's straighten up and fly right. Okay, you monkeys? No, it's a buzzard. Yeah, you buzzards? Okay, monkeys getting it straight. Okay, you're not monkeys. You're human beings. So get the hell off the buzzard and stop dropping bombs on people to feel powerful. Okay, I love you.